Welcome, everybody. It's really nice to have you join us for this session about Capability Framework. You'll have just seen on screen just some housekeeping. So just if you can keep your microphones off unless you're talking, just to minimize any background noise, that'd be great. But we definitely want you to participate. So raise your virtual hand or stick something in the chat, and we want this to be really interactive. So just by way of introduction, my name is Linda Christofferson. For those of you who have not met, I am the membership manager here at TIAH. And for those of you who aren't sure who TIAH are, we are Agriculture and Horticulture's new professional body, the home of skills and career support. There's actually a short video on the beta version of our website that you can watch if you want a bit more of a detailed explanation. So you've all been invited to today's session as you've expressed interest in helping us test our online services. So actually next slide, Ollie, if that's okay. So just as a reminder, here are some of the ways in which you can give feedback, because that's what this is all about, this phase of our proposition. So when you're logged in, you can feedback directly, and we've got some screenshots in a sec on how to do that. And we're also hosting surgeries like this one today on specific topics. And every Thursday afternoon, we've got drop-in sessions if you would rather talk to us face-to-face about your thoughts and experiences. So please take advantage of these. And the next screen will just show you how to give feedback when you're on the site if you've not done this already. It's really simple to do, hopefully. So it just gives you a chance while you're actually live and in the site to feedback in sort of real time. So today's session is all about the capability framework, and we're really keen to understand from you your thoughts on this. So I will hand over to my colleagues to take you through this new function and what support it can give you.
Thanks, Linda. So today we're going to have a sort of quick overview of TIAH's Capability Framework, sort of how you might be able to use it and explain some of the key terms. And then after the session, once this recording is uploaded to the site for anybody who couldn't attend, there'll be a survey available to fill in and just give us some of your thoughts. It's only 10 questions. We just want to check that what we've done up to date is making sense to people. So I'm going to hand to Sarah, who's the CPD manager here, who's going to introduce the capability framework to you.
Thanks, Ollie. So hi, everybody. My name's Sarah, as Ollie just said. So I was just going to talk through a bit about our capability framework, and just starting with what is a capability framework. You might have come across these before, you might not have, but they're sometimes called a competency framework or a professional framework, or in some instances, anything that an organisation wants to name them. So it's just examples of some other industry frameworks, and you can see they're all quite varied in the way they look and the feel, but fundamentally they all do the same thing. So moving on, we can talk about how a capability framework is used. So a variety of ways, but for example, job descriptions. So it helps you keep a consistent language and you can see the skills and knowledge required for the role. Training needs. So as a manager, you could use the framework to assess skills and knowledge within your team and then identify development needs. For personal career planning, so you can identify what skills and knowledge you have and then what you might want to develop. And as a training provider, you can also identify gaps in provisions that you could maybe fill. So TIAH has produced a capability framework. So it's all the skills and knowledge required by those working on farm in England. The framework covers livestock, arable, horticulture and technical operations. And this is the knowledge and skills required in England, as well as the business, people, leadership and environmental areas that you need to support your successful business. We are trialling out these two different images that show the capability framework. Move on to the next slide, Ollie. If we can just, I'll go into a bit more detail maybe about what sits underneath the framework. So just a bit more detail that you have the business and technical competency areas, and then under each of those you would have a competency statement. So for example, livestock would have its competency statements, and then the knowledge and skills that underpin each competency would sit underneath that as well. So all of the areas have got their own competencies and their knowledge and skills. You also have the behaviours that sit within the framework, which is applicable to everybody. And it's really about the attitudes that help you do the work successfully. So that's a bit more detail on the capability framework. I'm just going to give a bit more detailed examples. So just to show you what a competency might look like at operator level. So the competency would be plant health and productivity, support successful crop production through knowledge and skills which maximise productivity and ensure plant health. That would then have a variety of knowledge and skills sitting under it that people can then look at. So it's not just about the competency, it's the knowledge and skills that sit under that. So as an example of a supervisor's skills and knowledge, if you're in the arable and horticulture section, you could see that you would oversee compliance requirements and consent conditions, making sure all plans are implemented and monitored, reported and kept up to date, and then also knows and understands appropriate cultivation techniques. So you can see that you have a competency and then skills and knowledge that sit under that. Obviously, these are two different examples because you've got operator and supervisor skills, but just to give you a bit of a feel of what that actually looks like when we break it down. I'm happy to just talk through a little bit about how the capability framework is set at the 3 levels. So they've all got their tailored skills and knowledge and statements that we've just spoken about. So you have your operator level, which is basically talking about how you are working as part of the team to support the goals of the business. Then you have a supervisor level, which is all about supporting the owner or manager of the business for the basically team members. And then we also have manager or owner. So that's really taking main responsibility for the business. So those are at 3 levels.
Thank you, Sarah, for talking us through the capability framework. That was really good. So you'll find on the beta site now keys and explanations of all the terms that we've mentioned if you want to refresh yourself on them when you look back later. Thank you everybody for coming, and yeah, we look forward to seeing your feedback through the survey, and if you want to speak to us again on a one-to-one basis, we'll be inviting you to drop in sessions. With that, thank you and goodbye.